If you're 6'3" and weigh 300 pounds, don't look at me and open my rounds. Welcome back to the Belt Off Podcast, and let's talk about.
Did you activate Robo Vacuum? Robo
I seen that one go off in the last one, dude.
I was gonna cut that out, but
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, it was.
Robo Vacuum.
He's like, what's that? You're like, off.
Off, Mr. Vacuum.
Hey!
Welcome back to the Belt Off Podcast. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Let's talk about rolling with giants in jiu-jitsu. I had posted a meme, and I'll put it right there. Yeah, 135 pounds, 130 pound
Straight
dildo. So, should you avoid the giants in open mat?
No.
Avoid them.
I'd say no.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to avoid injury.
Yeah.
You should avoid injury at open mat, for sure.
The bigger they are, I think the more selective you need to be. As far as, like, if you know they're a giant white belt and you're 130 pounds and they have a tendency of doing drops and crazy movements,
sporadic.
then maybe don't
really
roll
bad.
with that guy. But just not rolling with big guys is a hindrance. And I saw a couple things on here. And I had posted, you'll see the meme, I'll post it up here. But I posted this meme, and there was a couple of reactions. One of them was, hey, I feel like you're calling me out of, like, being a big guy. It's like, I need sparring partners, too. And then the other side is like, yeah, I never roll with the big guys. I was like, guys, it's a joke. Like, of course you should be climbing the mountain from time to time. It's going to be good for your jiu-jitsu, especially if you have a self-defense mindset.
Yeah.
Right? If you never roll with the giants, you're going to be in a world of hurt if you ever need your jiu-jitsu against a giant in a self-defense altercation. Yeah. You're not going to have a good time anyway, but never feeling what doesn't work. Because your game gets smaller when you go against bigger people.
Right.
There's so many moves that'll work on somebody your size or smaller that you can use to make it work. And when they're giants, a lot of those things just no longer work. Your jiu-jitsu has to be sharp.
You have to specify if you're talking about a giant who's good at jiu-jitsu or a giant who's not, because that definitely matters. Because here's the cool thing about jiu-jitsu, okay? As you get better at it, that doesn't matter anymore, right? Doesn't matter. A new guy, if I'm new, right? If you and I both know nothing and you're way bigger than me, nature picked you to beat me in the fight. That was nature's choice. They made you twice my size, dude. Right? I know jiu-jitsu. That's like the great equalizer right there. You know, and if it's not, get better at jiu-jitsu. You're not good enough at jiu-jitsu yet. Like, that's the truth, man. Like, if we're gonna sit there and talk about jiu-jitsu and give Brazilian jiu-jitsu the credit that we do, and say stuff like, it can help you, you know, it can equalize a fight if the guy's bigger. If we're going to say that stuff, prove it.
Yeah.
Go prove it, bro. Don't say that and then say, oh, I don't roll with big guys. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like I get if you get that perfect storm. There's a perfect storm that's hell on wheels, right? It's the big guy who's a purple belt, you know, or brown belt or black, but whatever. Big, skilled guy who's competitive.
Yeah.
And maybe is like, you know, sure, I'll flow roll, huh? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Because if you start to pass my guard, you know, I'm gonna turn it up, right? And so there is the perfect storm to worry about. I get it. That's out there, but that's not most big guys, dude. That's not most big guys. What I just said. Like most big guys, maybe are one of those things. Maybe they're the guy that don't know how to flow roll for. You know, but luckily he's a white belt or he's a blue belt. He ain't that good, right? Maybe that's the situation, or maybe he, you know, flow rolls great, you know, or maybe he's like experienced, but you know, check, but does know how to flow roll or whatever. You know, either way, they might have one part of it, but not all of it. What's up, buddy?
No, you can't play with that right now. Yeah, I think it's less about size and more about skill level. Because if I'm going against a giant...
Yeah, that's the thing. If they suck, you're okay.
Well, the other part of that is if they're a giant brown belt, I know they're going to take care of me.
You hope. See, that's the thing. You hope, but what if you're good and they didn't want to lose to the little brown
Yeah,
belt?
that's true. That's true.
Like that. There's you hope. You cross your fingers. You know they'll take care of you. That is adorable. You
would
hope.
think they'd be controlled.
Like
though,
Yeah.
honestly, bro, I remember going to Meg's once when I was still a brown belt, and I roll with this woman, blue belt woman, and I after our roll, she was so happy. She gave me a hug. She was like, "Thank you for that," and I was like, "For that? For what?" And she's like, "We had a visitor come in our gym like a week ago, and he hurt me, and he was a brown belt, and I had PTSD when we shook hands to go." And she's like, "That was the flowiest, smoothest roll ever," and then she was so grateful because she trusted that brown belt would take care of her. And trust nothing because people get competitive. So if he's a giant and they're really good and they're very competitive, don't roll with them. That's
Right.
the guy you don't.
Yeah.
We talked about in the Blue Belt Blues podcast about adjusting your training to give yourself to be able to sustain training for a longer, and some of that includes saying no to certain people. But you don't say no to certain people, not like a group of persons.
I agree with
Yeah, you don't generally say no to without even looking at it and be like, well, how much you weigh? Nope, I don't roll with you. You don't do that because man, there's some big guys that are amazing rolls.
We had mentioned it in the gi versus no gi. Is I think some people choose gi or no gi because of an excuse of not wanting to face something that's happening. And I think rolling with big guys is another one of those things. It's because it is an ego check. It's going to put your jiu-jitsu in check, and it's going to make you do things that you may not want to do or put you in bad positions where you can normally get out of in people your size.
Not if they suck.
So,
That matters a lot, bro.
It does.
Like because when I hear you refer to them as like stuff they're gonna do, it's like I'm always thinking but which one?
Yeah.
Like you got that big guy who sucks.
Mm-hmm.
You got this big guy who's good.
Yeah.
So it's like the way you're talking, they're gonna put you in bad positions. So, okay, we must be talking about this one,
Right.
Because that one's not gonna do that to me. And you gotta get that good at jiu-jitsu, bro.
Yeah.
Like you have to be. I mean, we're about to do a purple belt expectation podcast in Brown. Okay, cool. We'll get into it then. Because there is a point when this should not be a problem. Yeah.
When size does become irrelevant.
Yeah, or better.
Yeah.
And if it ain't, do something different.
I don't mind rolling with big guys though, as long as I don't get hurt. Like I don't mind it because like I feel like the more pressure I take, the better it is when I'm with somebody on my side.
And they don't mind rolling with you as long as they don't lose.
Yeah. most of the time they don't.
It's funny. We're like, yeah, we'll roll with you as long as you don't get hurt. They're like, I'll roll with you as long as I don't lose. So you might get hurt if I end up losing. So you see how that works?
But most of the time, all the real competitive people that are just gonna like drop their weight or fucking just crush you. Most of the time, like from my experience, I've seen it with like newbies. White belts coming in and just going super hard. Even drilling, trying to do like a Kimura or something. Don't just crank the shit out of it. And it's like, dude, we're just drilling.
Yeah. No, that's the cranking the shit out of stuff is what's bad.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, like, if you mess up in jiu-jitsu and you let a person pass your frames and you let a person pass your blocks and your stiff arms and your frames and they have chest, like, body-to-body contact with you, like, you messed up. You weren't supposed to let them buy your frames. So the fact that you are now crushed, that's the consequence to your action. And that would be if they were small or big. The fact that it's a bigger consequence because they're big, right? But it was still the same mistake. So you're paying the same price.
Yeah, definitely.
You just notice it more. But big guys, honestly, man, I feel bad for them. They got it bad. They have it tough. I believe that there's not too many things tougher than to be a big dude in jiu-jitsu and to be told what you naturally have, that you are God-given strength and power. Don't use that.
Yeah,
that's messed up.
And
right?
I think that's a very important part to say too. Is like the big guys, they get picked on a lot in jiu-jitsu.
It's terrible.
And they already know they're big. They know that they have these advantage. Everyone's self-awareness is a little bit different. But for the most part, most big people know that they're big. They've been there their entire life. And they've been turned down probably in more roles than anyone else in jiu-jitsu because of their size and because, of people's preconceived notions.
Not given a chance.
Not given a chance, yeah.
Right.
Because there's big guys that I'm not rolling with that guy, like we were talking, and
Because you know.
because
already.
they're gonna try to smash me and hurt me,
Right.
and they don't care if I'm 100 pounds or 300 pounds. They're gonna roll the exact same way.
Yep, they want their arm raised.
Yeah. And then there's other ones that they appreciate that the smaller person's actually coming up to them and like trying to get a roll in, because it's a different aspect for them too.
Right.
They get to see, Charles is saying you're tough because you move. He's like, I like rolling with the other big guys.
They don't move.
Because we get to stay where we are.
Yeah, right. 'Cause you're
He's like, you
everywhere.
move too much. And there's holes everywhere that you sneak through that, maybe a bigger guy couldn't get their knee through, or the different angles and stuff. So it's good for the big guys to roll with the really small guys also. And what I typically tell people too is I don't mind the pressure, just don't drop on me, right? If it's controlling pressure, we're good. But
leaning versus
exactly
big difference.
So I've been rolling with the big dude before and go to put in a knee shield, dude, and just drops, and I'm like, fuck, dude, like you broke my head, yeah. Like,
if you're in side control and you're putting that weight down on me, cool, use it.
Because like I was saying, I messed up. I let you pass my frames. Okay, I'm smashed.
But if you're just dropping, don't do that, because then I'm gonna crack something.
Right.
Literally, my bones are half the size of your bones.
And if you are a big guy and you are given a chance, and then get turned down on the second roll, red flag, bro. Red flag.
Don't fuck that up.
Well, no. I mean, like you already did. Like, let's say you're given a chance to roll, and then the next time you go to roll with them, they say no. Why? Red flag. It may be like, do a little assessment of how competitive you're being with smaller people. Because you know what I do? I do a thing when I'm rolling with either way smaller people, way less, not so much less skilled people. Less skilled people, I'll let them win, But like smaller people. Skilled people, like brown belts or whatever, but they're just way smaller, right? I'll play a different game. I will still be competitive, and I still want to win because I want to win. I don't care what game we're playing, man. We play rock, paper, scissors. I want to win, right? So jiu-jitsu is no different. But I also don't want to be a dick. Don't want to be a douche, right? So, like if I'm rolling with my wife, I have a goal. I'm allowed to win, but I can't win by smashing. I can't win by using overpower, right? I have to regulate that. And what I find is that when I do, I don't always win. Unfortunately, I'd like to say I take my power out and still dominate. I find that, man, I actually need some of that strength and power a lot of the time. That's too bad.
Chewy from Jiu Jitsu has said that he's rolled with a lot smaller people, and I think he's like 205 somewhere in there.
Yeah, he looks big.
But he does look big. And what he says is rolling with those smaller guys, he tries to match them in their speed and movement, not in power. Right. And he says that's changed his game completely when he competes, because when he goes against the people that are his size, he's faster and more agile than they are. And so he's got that pressure game too, because he's a bigger guy. But he can also turn into that sprinter that chases through, rather than just smashing on. That standing guard pass, moving around. Because he likes like deep half. He likes the half guard game. He likes being in control and laying that smother down. But he said that rolling with smaller guys and trying to match them in that movement game is also...
It's a great challenge for them. It's a great challenge for them, man. And the thing is that I was telling Big Mac Crook this morning, is that for a big guy like him to eventually, right, attain flexibility, attainable. For a big guy, big dude, 250 pounds is the guy we're talking about, Matt Crook, to eventually be able to get his leg behind his head, that is attainable. And he don't even have to lose weight to do it. He can just, now, is it attainable for me to ever bench press as much as Matt Crook without gaining some sort of weight? No, man. I'm never going to attain his strength and power, but he can attain my flexibility and my speed. That sucks. That's why Helio was known to have joked about not teaching big guys jujitsu. Don't teach them jujitsu. If they're 200 pounds, discriminate against them. Okay? Because if we show them jujitsu, we're screwed. Like, this is how we beat them.
Right.
We don't show them our tricks, right? Big guys. And it's true. It's absolutely true, man. I've told more large white belt students than I can count. I've told them, if you don't quit, you will beat me one day, because nature picked you to beat me.
100%.
You're way bigger than me. Yeah. And when they don't eventually beat me, it pisses me off. I like it when my students beat me. I do. If you're getting to brown belt and black belt and you're bigger than me and you're not beating me yet, I get mad. I do. I'm not even joking. I want you to beat me if you're bigger than me. You should.
I remember the first time I rolled with you, dude, I was so hesitant and scared. I thought I was going to get fucked up so bad.
That was nice.
But yeah, you had the control there. So
I've-
it was cool, yeah.
We'll probably get into this a little bit at purple belt too, but when you start reaching in the purple belt video that's coming out probably right after this or right before this, when you're white or blue belt, those high level coaches and instructors, they let you play.
Yeah.
When you start getting to those brown or purples, browns, man, you don't get that slack. You don't get that leash anymore that you used to get.
Yeah.
The-
You stop letting people win eventually.
and you stop letting them get so far through things before you put things back
Yeah,
on.
like he could have wrapped me up in seconds.
Yeah.
We got a couple minutes. He still got me, but fucking
Exactly.
could have tore me up.
And we actually had a student the other day, and I was rolling with them, and we were going back and forth a little bit. And he goes, "Man, I did good in that one."
Isn't that cute?
Wait, what? It was like, okay, bang, 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 4 submissions in like 30 seconds. I was like,
Just
all
because you feel like they needed to know the truth.
right, now we know where we are. Okay, now let's go back to playing.
Do you feel as a coach though sometimes you have to do that?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah. Especially in here. So I'm the
Respectfully.
Yes.
And
I was thinking that.
so like last night we had a competition class, and it's mostly white belts. We got a few blue belts, and there's me. In a normal situation, I'm gonna be, if I'm at a steam, I'm gonna be drilling pretty hard, and but when I go with the white belts, I'm gonna lighten up. And here, because I'm the highest rank there, and they need that contrast. They need to see what I'm not killing them, but I'm putting it on them, because they need to see the difference between that white blue belt and me.
Yeah.
And they,
Especially as like
so
the
when
leader.
they can see where they're going. Because if they're like, "Oh, I'm just smashing coach," like, okay, that's one thing. But they need to know where they are in the chain in order to improve through the chain.
Right.
Exactly.
You need to see the far goal and then the next steps above.
Right.
And yeah, so I used to, like you said, oh, you're sparring with your students a lot, right? That was when we were like really small. I had to give like everyone lots and lots of work so that they
Yeah.
could move through all the positions. But now we have a bunch of other white belts and blue belts. They're doing that for me.
Right.
I get to turn it on and be like, okay, here's something to look forward to. Here's something that you can achieve if you
Yeah.
stick to it. And so the contrast is there. But that's comp class. That's like, we're going after it. Where in normal classes and stuff, we'll play for 2-3 minutes of the 5-minute round, and then, oh, I got a submission, and then we'll go for another couple minutes, and like, oh, okay, there it is. So we're moving through positions, and I'm giving them struggles, but yeah, in comp class, it's like, all right, we're gonna go.
He just tapped me out like 5 times in 2 minutes. I'm like,
But
"Fuck
sometimes,
you, dude."
though, a student does need that, bro, and it's good for them, and it's very healthy.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very healthy for you if you have a guy, and we talked about this in the last podcast, if you have a guy who's athleticing everybody,
Yeah.
who is a freak athlete, walked into the gym, just started training, and is beating colored belts.
Yeah.
It's vital. Not just like, oh, it would be a good idea. It's vital that you say, but let's do one. And then respectfully introduce him to jiu-jitsu. Or else he will, and of no fault of his own, he will think he beat the martial art.
Yeah.
He'll leave that night like, dude, that was my first day ever. and I wrestled only in a little bit in high school, but I'm hyper aggressive and I did gymnastics since I was 4, you know, and man, I fucking smoked those guys. I don't think I need this. Like, I think I'm better than jujitsu, right? You just you throw it into that Aikido category or something where you're like, that's not so much what it's cracked out to be. So you roll with that guy and you make him go, holy shit, that was different. You hooked and connected to me differently, dude.
We had 2 new people start on Tuesday, and we had a couple other guys that started a few months ago, like 2 to 4 months ago, and they were putting it on those brand new people. And so the brand new people were able to see what happens in just like a few months of training. They're like, oh, this is cool. And then the people who have only 2 to 4 months are like, it's working.
Thank God.
So having that contrast is also cool.
That was how I always gauge things, dude. Like when I was a white belt and a few months in, 6 months in, we get somebody new and I can roll with them. I'm like, cool, I got something, you know?
Yeah. And then
like, all right.
You got to continue that.
See that it works. That's the best part, when you see that it works.
All right, guys. So make sure that you like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.